our late 100 special, 100 subs special. Boy saying it's gonna rain today. Ah, cool, that's cool. I thought there was raindrops outside on the windows. Anyways, we're gonna be watching scary TikToks. That's what we're gonna do for the rest of the week now. Oh, look, I didn't watch scary TikToks for about 3 weeks. 3 freaking weeks. So I made it up by watching it daily for this day. Wait, what am I talking? Oh no, did I get a mosquito bite? Yeah, YouTube. It's about 6:50 a.m. in the California way. Yeah, the California way. Holy crap, look at that. Oh, make this the 200 sub special. Hurry up. What's it called again? Alright. I forgot what we were doing. Scary tactics. Halloween special? Ooh, look at this.
Yeah, these units in I got bodies here.
By 11 a.m., police give the first indications that there are multiple fatalities inside. By 11:50 a.m., they announce most of the fatalities are children. It is almost unimaginable. 27 dead, 20 children.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory.
Oh, I like this guy.
Or 25. In 2012, a group of 10 travelers from New Zealand boarded a hot air balloon. But during the landing process, the balloon collided with the power line, causing it to erupt into flames, killing all 10 people and the pilot on board. This is the last photo ever taken of Kim Wall, a journalist who was stabbed 15 times by Danish inventor Peter Madsen after she boarded his homemade submarine to interview him. This image shows brothers Nick and Jack Savage taken just a few minutes before their death. Their mother found them dead in their sleep after experimenting the previous night with opioids just a few days after their high school graduation. This photo of Bart and Kevin Whitaker was taken a few hours before a hitman that Bart had hired attempted to kill his entire family after they returned home from a graduation dinner. Sadly, his father was the only member of the family who survived. Notice Bart's hand.
Lady Gaga. Where do I even start? The rumor is that in order to secure her fame, Lady Gaga, her best friend, pop singer Lina Morgana. Lina Morgana was a young, beautiful, extremely talented, laser-focused singer and songwriter, whose entire shtick, her whole idea was to be a different character for every song, to bring a different, bold, new character alive for every music video. Before the fame, Lady Gaga was Stefani Germanotta. And in 2006, Germanotta was scouted by talent agent Rob Fusari, who was looking for the next big thing, the next edgy starlet. Now, at the same time, Fusari was also developing Lina Morgana. If you didn't know already, the music industry can be kind of a vicious, toxic workplace, so it's not totally clear whether or not Fusari wanted Germanotta on the team to help push Morgana to new heights, or if he wanted the two to compete. Regardless, at the time, Lina had more experience and was the up-and-coming artist, so Stefani Germanotta soon became her co-writer and backup singer. And the two seemed to work well together, but Fusari was working on a new idea, and in 2007, Lady Gaga was born and immediately signed to Interscope Records. The two even did a song together in 2007 called Wonderland. Lady Gaga's debut record, The Fame, was released a year later in August of 2008. And this is where it starts to get super weird. Just 2 months after Lady Gaga's debut release in October of 2008, Lina Morgana would fall to her death from the roof of the Staten Island Hotel. Reportedly, when Lady Gaga found out about Lina's passing, she said she felt awful that someone had died at such a young age, but that the two barely knew each other. Which is so random. It's one of those events where, like, you don't have to say anything, but you chose to say the weirdest thing because we know that's false.
He has a circle like me. Hold up, can we fit this? Oh, it fits! Oh, wow, lol.
There's a very clear history between the two. And over time, Lady Gaga would kind of seem to do what Lina wanted to do with music. Always a new character, always high concept, always being bold and over the top with her outfits. Morgana's mother, who says she met Lady Gaga, they were close friends, they worked closely together, and she really feels like Lady Gaga stole her daughter's style. She even had a video made and sent to TMZ set to one of Lina's songs she recorded before she passed that showed comparisons between some of Lina's concepts for videos that she had come up with and Lady Gaga's videos and outfits. Then we have this bizarre random set piece during the Super Bowl performance where Lady Gaga jumps off a roof while singing America the Beautiful. It doesn't really seem to make sense in that context. Satanic deal, jealousy, or just business? Rest in peace, Lina Morgana.
Alright guys, let's talk about the Dear David incident. The Dear David incident is when Adam Ellis tweeted about a ghost haunting him inside of his apartment. He tweeted, "So my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child and he's trying to kill me." He gives very detailed accounts of what he sees during sleep paralysis. He states he sees a child with a dented head and that the child is trying to hurt him. The next day, he dreamed about a little girl and she was explaining who this creature was. She said its name was David. She stated he only appears at midnight and you can ask him 2 questions if you preface it with Dear David, and if you ask him a third, he kills you. Before he got photo proof of David, he drew a sketch of a dented-headed child. Then one day he managed to snag this picture and this picture. Even his 2 cats were gathering by a door where he saw David. They could just tell something was on the other side. In one instance, he went to take a Polaroid of his lit hallway and it was completely dark. A user found this face inside of it though. This man had a plethora of evidence and posted it all on Twitter. Comment for part 2.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you. Part 6. Greeks, Romans, and Spartans were really into anal for both sexes.
What?
Male warriors would do it as a sign of camaraderie and brotherhood, and women would do it before marriage as they only had to be vaginal virgins to get married. The first ever condoms were made of discarded animal parts, such as pig intestines and lambskin. Queen Victoria's oldest son, King Edward VII, had a love chair custom made for having sex with multiple people at the same time. The same chair later sold for $4 million. In ancient Greece, large peepees were a sign that someone was foolish or stupid, which is why many statues depict small peepees, because this was a sign of intellect. When Phryne, an Athenian on trial in ancient Greece, flashed her boobs to the court, the judges thought they were so perfect that they decided to spare.
I didn't ever want freedom.
What?
Frankly, I wanted death for myself.
What?
This was a case to tell the world that I did what I did not for reasons of hate. I hated no one. I knew I was sick or evil or both. Now I believe I was sick. I should have stayed with God. I tried and
How dare you? Why no captions?
failed and created a Holocaust. And if I could give my life right now to bring their loved ones back, I would do it. I am so very sorry.
Also
I
bring
deserve
back
whatever I get
annotations.
because of what I have done.
Everyone, I promise
Photos
you
with
to.
disturbing
Everybody will
backstories.
use them
Part
for
7. In our first photo here, we have a group of smiling astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia. What they don't know, however, though, is that in 3 days' time, upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, their ship will malfunction. This is what happened when they tried to re-enter the atmosphere, and as you can see, there was no chance for survivors. And second in this video is this unassuming photo right here. Seen in the background, however, you can see this man standing right here. The previous photo was moments before this extremely famous photo was taken. What happened to the gentleman standing right here is unknown, however, there are a variety of different theories surrounding this. Some believe that he lost his life, some believe that he was imprisoned, and some believe he also fled the country. Follow for part 8.
Jameson family is unlike anything you have heard. So this
head.
family right here, the Jameson family with the 2 parents and their 6-year-old daughter, for an unknown reason, they just packed their truck in 2009 and they had these plans to live in a storage unit, like on a plot of land. We would end up getting this security camera footage that was retained from their home, where they packed the truck and they did so completely silent, like they were in a trance or something. So the family does go missing after this day, but their truck is found abandoned and locked. It's really eerie because inside of this truck there was like 32 grand, all of their belongings, and their family dog was still in the truck.
They're rich.
They end up finding the father's cell phone, and that's when they find something really disturbing. It's a picture of his 6-year-old daughter on the day they left, and she's just standing completely alone in the woods, just screaming, and nobody knows why he took this picture. 4 years later, all 3 bodies were found 3 miles away in the woods, and no one knows what happened to them or why they left.
People that would not survive the zombie apocalypse. First off, people that snore. Like, how are they even supposed to make it through the
Okay, so number 1, they probably wanted to get rid of evidence because what if it's too close? Probably they would get rid of evidence, so they killed the little girl. Or because she could just run away and leave her alone in the woods. No help at all. So she can't tell anybody what's happening. So yeah.
first night? I mean, they'll probably be like, Mommy? People who wear glasses or contacts. I mean, if society collapses, you are absolutely f***ed in the long term. Like,
Why?
Who's gonna make your prescription, you blind? Picky eaters. People will be surviving on packed tuna and canned spam. There ain't gonna be no chicken tenders and fries. Gone. People whose astrology sign is Cancer. Like, y'all are so damn emotional. Y'all finna be like, I can't bash my grandmother's skull in. She used to make me cookies. If you don't fit into any of these categories or you just want to prove me wrong, make sure to download State of Survival: The Walking Dead. It's a super fun game. You can kill zombies with your friends, and now you can even play as Daryl Dixon. If you think you can survive, click link in my bio.
This man is pleading for his life.
I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea, for your forgiveness.
He committed a crime in one of the most dangerous countries on the planet, the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. But it's what happened after he was arrested that shocked the world. This is his story. Meet Otto Warmbier, an all-American young guy from Ohio. He grew up like many young American men. He graduated second highest in his class at high school, and when it came time for him to go to college, he decided to study abroad in Hong Kong. In 2016, while studying in Hong Kong, he got a very rare opportunity, the chance to visit the most closed-off country on the planet. He got invited to take a tour of North Korea. He flew from Hong Kong to Beijing and then into North Korea. He was with a fairly large tour group, which included 10 other US citizens. They had planned to spend 5 days in North Korea. They saw the sights, had lots of food and drinks, and witnessed the amazing New Year's Eve fireworks show in Pyongyang. At 2 a.m. on New Year's Day, Otto attempted a challenge many tourists had done before. That is the 5th floor challenge. Otto and his tour group had been staying at the Yanggakdo Hotel in North Korea. The hotel is famous for its secretive 5th floor. This is the staff-only floor. By tricking the elevator, many tourists have gone to this secret floor before. It has the staff living quarters and propaganda posters all over it. It's very different from the rest of the hotel. It also has the hotel surveillance center in it as well. Every room of the hotel has listening devices and cameras inside them. Normally when tourists are caught on the 5th floor, they're simply told to leave. They pretend to be confused tourists and they don't get in any trouble. But that was not the case with Otto Warmbier. Otto decided to take one of the propaganda posters in the staff-only area as a rare souvenir. He did this at around 2 a.m. on New Year's Day. Otto continued his trip and everything went as normal. That was until the 2nd of January 2016. Otto and his tour group were at Pyongyang International Airport. They were about to get on their plane to leave. But that's when two guards came over and simply tapped Otto on the shoulder. They said no words, but they made it clear Otto had to go with them. At the time, one of Otto's friends on the tour group said, well, that's the last we'll ever see of you. Him and Otto both laughed because they assumed it was simply a security check. But there was a dark irony to what his friend had just said, because it was in fact the last time anyone on that tour group saw Otto ever again. The rest of the tour group left the country, but Otto remained in North Korea. News of his arrest was soon broadcast on North Korean TV. North Korea's news agency, KCNA, simply said he'd been arrested for a hostile act against the state. For 6 weeks, they refused to even say what he'd done wrong. That was until February 29th, 2016. A very bizarre press conference was held about Otto. Otto and many North Korean police were present. Otto had to read from a prepared statement that was written for him. He admitted to stealing a propaganda poster from the hotel's 5th floor.
I understand the severity of my crime. I have been very impressed by the Korean government's humanitarian treatment of severe criminals like myself.
His confession may have been forced, but he was clearly terrified about what his fate may be. He begged the North Korean government and people for forgiveness.
I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea, for your forgiveness.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 26. Atoms are 99% nothing, which makes us 99% nothing as well. Also, if you come in contact 99% nothing, which makes you never knew. Part 26. Atoms are 99% nothing, which makes us 99% nothing as well. Also, if you come in contact with someone or something, you're not actually touching them. You're simply sensing the repulsion between your atoms and theirs. You can get bed bugs from movie theater seats. In 1386, a French pig was publicly executed for the murder of a child. The pig was given full legal representation and provided human clothes for the trial. A 7-year-old South African girl is more likely to be raped than to receive an education. In the 1950s, many babies in orphanages didn't cry very often because they knew their cries wouldn't be answered. Hans Langseth, the man with the longest beard in history, died when he tripped over it and cracked his neck. The maximum prison sentence in Brazil is 30 years, meaning that mass murderers like Pedro Rodrigues Filho, who killed over 100 people, are walking.
The most gruesome ways to go. Part 1. In a video yesterday, I talked about saturation divers / welders and what extreme conditions that they work in. As a reminder, this job involves going down far below the water and living in one of these compression tanks for about 28 days. And in this photo, I have the Byford Dolphin oil rig. Now this oil rig did have saturation divers on it, as they would drop those compression chambers down below it. And this is where one of the worst workplace accidents ever had occurred. These compression chambers are pressurized in order to protect the people that are within while living down below the water. In the Byford Dolphin compression chamber, there were 5 people that were living there at the time. And a person that was supposed to be controlling this pressure to keep them safe ended up messing up. And they messed up bad. What happened next is something called an explosive decompression. This is when the air pressure inside of the compression chamber rapidly becomes the same pressure as normal outside air. One of the workers was close to a tiny hole and ended up getting sucked completely through it. This is what happens when a dummy does the same thing. Awful.
This is London's Death Train. This abandoned building used to be the London Necropolis Railway. London became severely overcrowded in the early 1800s, and the city's graveyards were at full capacity. The decaying corpses even began to seep from the soil into the drinking water. So a plan was devised to build the London Necropolis, which is the largest cemetery in the UK, about 30 miles away in the Surrey countryside. In order to get the dead from London to Surrey, they had to build this bizarre corpse train to transport them and their grieving families. The London Necropolis Railway was born. They also have the worst logo. You can actually still see here where the train tracks used to be and how they would have converged with the rest of the trains from Waterloo Station. The station was partially destroyed by a German bomb in World War II and it never reopened. The building is now being converted into flats, and I cannot imagine sleeping in this completely haunted death station.
So I discovered something disturbing under the McDonald's ball pit. As I sunk in deeper, I eventually fell through to the other side. I found myself in a huge ball pit. It was dark. I climbed out and saw the rest of my surroundings. I realized I was in a basement. but under McDonald's, everything felt so eerie, especially with the low hum emitting from the lights. Just then, I saw a way out. I began going upstairs and heard a clap. I quietly ran up as fast as possible. I heard in the far distance. I opened the door and shut it silently. I was in the back of the restaurant now. I couldn't question or process anything in the moment. All I did was darted for my car and got out of there. That night, I couldn't sleep. I really couldn't process anything. That morning, I drove back. Later on, our boss came in. Obviously, for me, he's suspect number one for this. I started a conversation with him and asked about what this door was. Oddly enough, he said that this was our basement storage room, which I guess is partially true, and I asked him if there's anything weird down there, and he said no, just normal equipment. He never acknowledged the oddly placed ball pit there. That night, everyone left. That leader from earlier said bye to me, but then proceeded to stare at me for a good 3 seconds and didn't say anything. He then closed the door. After about an hour of cleaning, I headed for the ball pit. I stood in the same spot from before, but I didn't fall in. There was no hole. I began moving the balls until I could see that there was a floorboard placed there. In that moment, whoever was responsible for this knew that I knew. I called 911 and told them I have reason to believe I know what happened to all those kids. I took my broom and I broke down the board and I fell in, this time being more observant. I noticed a small shoe near a door that I hadn't entered before. Tune in next time to see what happens.
Horror movie facts that will haunt your nightmares. Part 2. Coraline. The soundtrack in the movie is a French children choir singing. Surprisingly, they aren't actually singing in French. They're singing in a completely made-up language. If you look on the wall of the dining room in the other mother's home, you'll see 3 portraits of silhouettes. These likely represent the 3 ghost children that appear later in the film. In the normal world, the boy is sad and has dropped his ice cream. But in the other world, he's happy and his ice cream is perfect. On the back of the chair above where Coraline's doll sits features a small flower-shaped pattern. And this flower is almost exactly like the one on the back of Jack Torrance's chair in The Shining. The Welcome Home cake features a double loop on the O, and according to Graphology, a double loop on the lowercase o means that the person who wrote it is not telling the truth. But on the cake, there is actually only one double loop, meaning that Coraline is welcome, but she is not home.
Hoist the colors high, heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
Ito ang creepy story behind Teletubbies. Ang 4 na Teletubbies character ay base sa 4 na bata na namatay sa mental hospital sa Bulgaria. May isang mental asylum sa Bulgaria na puno ng mga bata na may sakit sa pag-isip. May isang bata, ang pangalan niya ay Lala, at nakalock-in siya sa isang kwarto na walang sunlight na pumapasok, kaya naging yellow ang kanyang balat. And Lala the Teletubby was based on her. Yung isang bata, ang pangalan niya ay Towate. Siya ay na-lock outside kung saan napakalamig, kaya he froze to death. And naging bluish-purple yung kanyang balat. Tinky Winky was based on him. Yung isa naman ay si Donka. Siya ay sakitin, lagi siyang sumusuka, na paminsan nakahiga na lang siya sa kanyang suka. Dipsy was based on him. Ang huli naman ay si Polina. Po was based on her, natapon siya sa flames, kaya siya ay nasunog at namatay. Ewan ko lang kung totoo ito.
68 days until Halloween. Let's get it. Did you know that Jeepers Creepers was based on a true story in real life? He's a demon who is similar to a snake, and he wakes up every 23 years by hunting humans by their smell. A married couple used to live in Michigan in the 1990s. Dennis Dupree was an ordinary man who loved his kindful wife, but she wasn't that happy, and after asking for a divorce, Dennis lost his mind. He took the life of his beloved wife as an act of revenge, then proceeded to dump her body behind an abandoned school. In the film, the demon can be seen throwing bodies of victims behind a ruined church. There is also a very creepy scene in the movie which 2 brothers observe what the mysterious creature was doing. In real life, the 2 brothers were actually on a road traveling, and they noticed Dennis throwing his wife's body.
the creepypasta of Carmen Winstead. Carmen was a young girl who just moved out to Indiana, and she was relentlessly bullied, particularly by this group of girls who were set out to ruin this girl's life. During a school fire drill, the girls thought it would be funny if they cornered her near this open sewer, try to get her to fall down, get her covered in sewage, and embarrass her. So they surround her and she falls in, but when she falls, she hits her face on the side wall and scrapes off the entire front of her face, lands on her neck, which snapped backwards. None of the girls owned up to pushing her or surrounding her. They just said that they saw her fall. This was a tragic accident. Months would pass when suddenly the whole school starts getting this string of anonymous messages saying that what happened to Carmen wasn't an accident, she was pushed. They never found out who sent these messages though. Not long after that, one of the girls who was responsible claimed she could hear whispering and laughing in the shower, which she believed was coming from the drain. One by one, all of those girls met their end in a very similar way.
Thing, my daughter texts me and says, "Mom, what are you doing?" I respond with, "I'm at the store, like I'll be home soon." And then she's like, "Why are you in the driveway?" And I'm like, "In the driveway? Like I'm at the store. I'm not in the driveway. Like that's not my car." And then she responds with, "Mom, I waved at you. You waved." And she said that she saw when my car pulled up to the driveway and she was wondering what was taking me so long to get out of the car. So she waved at me and she saw when I waved back. That's when she texted me and said, "What are you doing?" And then after I text her back and said, "What do you think I'm at, Marshall's, whatever," she looked back out the window and the car wasn't there anymore.
He goes into the bathroom and I hear him go, "Mom." And I'm like, he'll be back in a minute. If he needs me, he's going to come back in here. A couple minutes goes by. Like I'm talking like a solid 10 minutes. I'm watching a whole ass show. I don't hear him. So I'm like, all right, he just got tired of hanging out with me. He probably went into his bedroom. Silence. And then I hear a faint mom again. And I'm like, so now I'm contemplating, like, do I need to get up? I'm like, what? Like, what? What do you want? Nothing. So I'm like, all right, if he needs me, he's going to come in here. Next thing I know, I'm hearing like panting, like almost having an anxiety attack. I know him and he's panicking. And I shoot up out of bed and I'm trying to find him and I can't. I've looked all over this fucking house for him and he's like not here. And but I can hear him. So I'm hearing him from this side of the house, right? And that's where I'm looking. Then all of a sudden I hear him from the other side of the house. So that's where I run out to. He's out on the back porch. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, you weren't in the bedroom. I'm like, yes, I was. I never left the bedroom. He's like, no, you weren't. I went in there and I looked for you and you weren't in there. I thought you left me home alone.
My youngest twin came to me and he said, "Mom, you called to me." And I said, "No, I didn't, baby. I'm in here cleaning." He said, "Yeah, I heard you call my name." I said, "No, baby, I didn't." And, we kind of dismissed it, let it go. And then a little bit later, my other twin, my older twin, he come to me. He said, "Mommy, you called my name." I was still cleaning. I said, "Baby, I didn't call your name." He said, "Yeah, you called my name. You called my name and said we was about to go outside." No, baby.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how bad the system is glitching right now. Yeah, we live in a fucking video game and we're all getting our fucking powers right now, okay? I was in Vegas from July 4th to July 8th. And I was with my friend and we went to a restaurant and we're looking at the menu and I hear him go, "Oh my God, this is so expensive." And I turned around and I said, "I know, right?" And he goes, "You heard that?" I didn't say that out loud. What? Then every time I was in the shower, he kept saying, "What?" And I was like, "I'm not saying anything." And he was like, "I hear you talking to someone." I think we're hearing each other's thoughts.
What?
Nah, cause I feel like people either don't understand or they underestimate just what these things are capable of. Like the scariest thing about them isn't how strong they are. Let me tell y'all a story. I couldn't find the original post, but basically a zookeeper was answering questions when somebody asked what was the scariest thing that ever happened to her. She said that when she first began working, they started her with the chimps. Horrible place to start, by the way. It's like learning how to ride a bike down the Grand Canyon. And one of her jobs was to take empty food bowls out of every chimp's cage in the morning. And the chimps were so smart that they learned to push the food bowls right up to the cage door where the keepers could easily grab it. Well, on her third or fourth day, she noticed one of the chimps' bowl wasn't right at the door. It was a couple feet back where she would have to reach her arm in and grab it, which she was about to do when another keeper showed up and basically screamed at her to stop. The older keeper scolded her and told her never stick your hand in a cage like that, especially with a chimp. The keeper then told her to look into the cage. The new keeper crouched down and peered inside, where she saw one of the bigger male chimps sitting just where you couldn't see him if you were standing up straight. Her stomach dropped. as she realized if she would have reached in for the bolt, she more than likely would have gotten her arm torn off. But the part that she said really freaked her out, she swore that the chimp almost seemed disappointed when she noticed him. To this day, she's convinced that chimp was fully aware that she was new and planned on taking advantage in the worst possible way. The scariest thing about chimps, as smart as you think they are, they're smart.
This is a true horror.
Okay. Thanks so much for watching. And, yeah, bye.